CMP stands for Complete Metabolic Panel. Complete refers to the fact that this panel includes all the lab values on top of the basic metabolic panel, or BMP, that we cover in a separate video. If you haven't seen our video for the BMP fishbone, you should check that one out first. CMP includes labs that give a snapshot of the body's liver function and nutrition status, and is also reported as a fishbone diagram. It can be really hard to remember which lab values go where in these diagrams, so in this video, we're going to give you a handy visual mnemonic to help you nail this diagram for the wards. Welcome to our special astronaut training program. Today we're going to put these wannabe astronauts through a challenging obstacle course. Just take a look at that rope ladder over there. By the way, doesn't the shape of this rope ladder resemble the CMP fishbone diagram? Notice how this fishbone is a vertical fishbone, with 2 horizontal lines and a tail branching from the bottom, for a total of 7 lab values. We'll cover which lab values go where, just hang tight. Our trainee is all charged up, thanks to his pre-workout ritual. For that extra carb load, he always starts with lots of Calci-Yum ice cream. Since zero-gravity environments cause bone loss, this trainee knows he needs an extra boost in his calcium intake. Let this Calci-Yum ice cream be a boost to help you remember that calcium comes first in the top left of the CMP fishbone. It comes first because, well, it's ice cream. If you don't eat it first, it melts, and that would really ruin the trainee's mojo. And you'll remember it's on the left side because this is the trainee's pre-workout ritual before he attempts the challenge course on the right. Calcium levels are primarily regulated by the parathyroid glands and kidneys. Low calcium levels or hypocalcemia can result in muscle spasms known as tetany, as well as extremity numbness and tingling. High calcium levels can cause renal, GI, and mood disorders. After our trainee finished his Calci-Yum ice cream, he washed it down with a couple of scoops of protein powder, conveniently measured out using the same ice cream scoop. This pre-workout protein power-up will remind you that total protein comes next on the left side of the CMP fishbone. As we mentioned, protein is below calcium because the Calci-Yum ice cream has to be eaten first before it melts. Total protein levels reflect general nutrition status in the body. After all that calcium and protein loading, it's time for a bit of R&D, rest and digest. The trainee puts on his best workout music album to do warm-up stretches and let things digest to really make sure the energy is in his system before he attempts the challenge course. That rockin' album is our symbol for albumin, which is the last value on the left column on the CMP fishbone. Like protein levels, albumin gives a good idea of the body's nutritional status.
While we're here, I should mention that abnormal albumin levels affect calcium levels. You can think of calcium as being either free and ionized in the plasma or bound to plasma proteins, notably albumin. As one might expect, it is the free ionized calcium that is physiologically active. Clinically, however, a patient's calcium is often measured as total calcium and not as free ionized calcium. When albumin levels are low, there is less calcium bound to albumin and relatively more ionized calcium. Hypoalbuminemic patients may therefore have higher physiologically relevant calcium levels despite a lower total calcium level. To address this, one often applies the calcium correction formula. Alternatively, the ionized calcium levels could be measured directly.
All right, the album's finished playing, and it's time for the challenge rope course. This isn't for the weak of heart, or body for that matter. To get to the rope holds, he has to first jump over the acidic green bile all over the floor. The moat of bile on the floor is our symbol for bilirubin, which is at the tail or bottom of the CMP fishbone. Got it? Since bile contains bilirubin and it's on the floor of the challenge course. Total bilirubin is a marker of liver function and may be elevated due to liver injury or bile duct blockage. High enough bilirubin levels manifest systematically as jaundice, a yellowing of the skin and whites of the eyes. What's on the other side of the rope course? Ah, the head NASA astronaut, of course. He's the timekeeper for the trainee. The head astronaut is also our symbol for AST, which goes on the top right of the CMP fishbone. AST should be easy to remember as the first 3 letters of astronaut. To remember that it's on the top right, just keep in mind that the head astronaut is at the top of the hierarchy, waiting on the other side, or the right, of the rope course. AST stands for the enzyme aspartate aminotransferase and is present in the liver, heart, and skeletal muscle. High AST levels generally reflect liver disease. As top in command, the head astronaut has a very nice mahogany altar. I bet you thought it was a desk, but that'd be too commonplace for such a VIP. This altar will also help you remember the next lab value, ALT, which goes in the middle right of the CMP fishbone. To keep straight that AST is over ALT, just remember that the head astronaut is presiding over the altar. ALT stands for the enzyme alanine aminotransferase and is found mostly in the liver, and thus is a more specific indicator of liver injury. When considering the cause of liver injury, the AST-ALT ratio is helpful. A ratio greater than 2 suggests alcoholic liver disease, while a ratio less than 1 suggests non-alcoholic liver disease. Notice that AST comes first in the ratio, just like on the CMP fishbone. And just to really help you peg that AST and ALT are found on the right side of this fishbone, remember that the liver is also on the right side of the body. Did you hear that? Was it just me, or was that coming from the alpaca rug under the altar? Did you know alpacas make a moo sound? You know, kind of like, move this altar off me? This alpaca rug is here to remind you of the enzyme ALP, since ALP stands for alpaca. Well, actually, ALP stands for alkaline phosphatase, which acts as a marker for bone and liver function. Anyways, just remember the alpaca rug is under the altar. To know AlkPhos goes on the bottom right of the CMP fishbone. And there we have it, a visit to the International Space Station to see the Challenge rope course, and a handy mnemonic to remember the CMP fishbone. Let's recap so we can move out of here. The CMP fishbone is a vertical fishbone with 2 horizontal lines and a tail at the bottom. Keep in mind, CMP includes all of the values of the BMP as well. On the top left is calcium, the middle left is total protein, and the bottom left is albumin. At the very bottom or tail of the diagram is bilirubin. On the top right is AST, the middle right is ALT, and the bottom right is ALP, or alkaline phosphatase. You'll see this CMP diagram pretty often in the wards, and you'll know it well with time. Until then, hope this mnemonic helps. I'll see you next time.